Becoming aware of who we are. I find this such an interesting topic because truly no other time in history have we had so much information, and this is a beautiful thing. This is exactly what our souls signed up for, is to come into this time with so much abundance of information and resources and knowledge and systems and solutions and ways of thinking and expanding our consciousness. And yet, with so many ways of seeing and perceiving and systems and structures and all of this wisdom that we have available to us, becomes very easy to lose ourselves and not know who we are in the midst of all of it, in the midst of all of the chaos, and asking him, does this belief system fit with me? Does this belief system fit with me? Is this belief system aligned with me? And what's fascinating is that there are so many belief systems, and perhaps different belief systems will serve us at different parts in our lives. It's very common for us to grow up in a certain belief system, and then later on we see and realize that doesn't necessarily feel like me. That doesn't feel like who I am. And so we shift and we dive into yoga or into Reiki or the Chinese medicine or the Tao, or like all of these things, and then later on, and then we think, well, that was really beautiful, and but now I'm feeling like I just want my own connection with God, source, divine. So there's, and this is just one example, right? But there's so many ways of understanding ourselves. And when we get so lost in, or rather immersed in all of this infinite wisdom, we can forget who we are, who our soul came here to be. And a really powerful practice that my guides brought through in relation to really coming to know who we are is to remove yourself from what you know. Remove yourself from the people who know you. Remove yourself from the places, the situations, the circumstances, the everything that you know. They refer to these as our anchors. Remove yourself from the anchors of your reality. So if you go to a certain store, if you are seen by a certain person, because people see us and perceive us in a certain way, and therefore we act in certain ways based off of how we believe that person is perceiving us. And so removing ourselves from all of this, removing ourselves from all of these identities that we have come to know ourselves. So this may mean going into nature, somewhere where you haven't been in nature, taking a trip, going somewhere new where the anchors, the ways of being in which you have known yourself to be are not there. And when you're stripped of these, who are you? How do you want to show up with new people, in new circumstances, in new environments? If you're alone in nature, what thoughts begin to arise? What questions begin to arise? Because our questions are just as important as our answers, really, because the questions is where the answer lies. And when we get into this space of a new way of seeing, perceiving, and therefore being, we come to unlock and see different aspects of ourselves, different perhaps identities and ways of being that we hadn't seen previously. And doing this without all of the resources, all of the noise, all of the external things that we have access to. But who are you without all of that? Who are you when it's just you? and it's just you and source. Who are you? And when you ask yourself that, asking who you want to be and who you want to become, who you've been, and sending so much love to that version of all these versions of who you've been, and then they're not right or wrong or good or bad, but carving out space now for what's to come. Because you see, all of these iterations of yourself that you have experienced in this lifetime, they've all perfectly prepared you. And so they could never be good or bad or right or wrong. They've perfectly prepared you. Whether our conscious mind understands it or not, they've perfectly prepared you. But it takes a deep acceptance of that to now carve space for who and what we are becoming. Because who and what you are becoming, your beliefs, your identities, it may be completely different than what you were yesterday, what you were a year ago. And that's okay. It's really interesting as human beings that we feel as though we need to stay the same. And while we wouldn't consciously say this, we act in accordance of this when we're with other people. We act in ways that we believe that they perceive us. We go about our daily routines the same, doing the same things in the same way, in the same order. And when we get in this habitual loop, we don't have space to see and envision and imagine all that we could be, all that you are capable of being, because you are such an infinite, vast human being. And so when we open up space for this, when we drop the anchors and allow ourselves into a new way of seeing and perceiving and believing ourselves to be, now we have an opportunity to become something new. To have those downloads from our soul and source drop into the body and illuminate who we are. And this is such a key aspect, I believe, that is being called forth of us right now, is really finding out who we are. And it's so funny that it's like one of the most difficult questions to answer, but it's like, I'm here, like, this is what I am, but you're so much more than this, and you're being called to evolve and transcend the lack and limitations and past perceptions of what you've seen yourself to be, and allow yourself to become something that you've never been before. But in order to become something you've never been before, you have to release what you have previously been. And this doesn't take a whole long thing. Like, just simply sense that version of you love, coming to peace with that version. And if that's something that you need support with, please receive that support from myself or someone else to help you energetically prime and prepare your body, your vessel, your field to now be an energetic match for your soul and source to be in your body, living your true. Because this is what we need right here, right now. There are so much information out there. And it's a beautiful thing. It's not something to say is bad or good or anything. It's simply what our souls signed up to experience in this lifetime. But navigating our truth through it all, so that that is the one anchor we always hold on to, and allowing that anchor to also dissolve and evolve, because it will. But we always will have one anchor, and that is the root of who we are in our soul and our connection to something greater than ourselves. And when we can hold on to that as our one and only anchor, then we can see and perceive and receive new ways of being, seeing, receiving information, filtering information that we receive, and knowing exactly what's for us and exactly what's not. And so with that, my loves, I pray that wherever you are in your journey, in your evolution, in your growth, that you may come back to your innermost truth of who you are. And with that, I'm just sending you all infinite love and light.